When?
Hello, I am your host, Jay Choi, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Chad, over there. And welcome to the studio.
Yo,
Rush of ideas and just imagination and chaos. You make things, you break things in the span of seconds just with your thoughts.
Kinesthetic style, but only within the mind.
Take a whole idea and deconstruct it and then rebuild it in a completely different way.
Swimming in chaos.
welcome to
I
Just
can't
even
with
myself
right
now. Let's go.
So today we're going to be talking about envy and jealousy, but our rule is we're not allowed to bring up Enneagram.
Okay, I like that challenge.
Okay,
All right, I'll take
yeah.
it. I'll take it.
Well, let's not bring up any typology.
Oh, okay. Personality traits are free game though, right?
What,
'Cause
like
it's not
dumb or
typology.
jealous?
Yeah, like things like that, like stubborn,
yeah,
or that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
I don't get it. I don't understand envy. I don't get the point. My issue of it is why, if you didn't work for it, why should you be, even covet, let's say, another person's whatever skill set they have. Like, I have this thing where when I see pretty people, let's say, in my personal standard of what beauty is, even though I view it objectively, but that's besides the point. Let's say I see somebody who's I view as pretty or beautiful or whatever. I don't feel like this thing of, oh, I just can't believe it, they're so pretty, I'm never gonna be like that. That's a given. I'm not blessed with their genes. I don't have this, I don't have
Somebody
a tall
say
frame.
genes.
Yeah, I don't got none of that kind of stuff. So why should I beat myself up over something I literally cannot control? And why not just be happy for them being that way? Like, I can't even put myself in that situation of talking smack about them even.
Right. Yeah, for me, honestly, it just comes down to I don't care enough about other people to be jealous. Honestly, and I'm self-confident in myself. Self-confident in myself. I'm confident in myself. It doesn't I don't know. I know. Oh, I almost brought up Enneagram. Dun, dun, dun. Welcome to the first ad. We are sponsored by the Enneagram Institute.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the children's muzzle.
I was I went through 20 different options, and I was like, I should go for something friendly.
Because we're friendly today.
Saying, yeah,
so you think yourself as every other time as actually friendly, or as otherwise mean?
No. What the heck? I just usually have a little inkling of FE there.
Inkling.
Today I just don't really care.
Thankful. Thank you. Goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, envy, jealousy.
I'm also not finishing any of my thoughts. Also, I just cut you off again because I don't care.
Well, that's fine.
I'll stop talking.
No, okay, I got one more. I got
Alright,
something else here. So what thing with envy and stuff is I often feel it's also a self-deprecating shame thing, because for you to envy something in somebody else, you have to yourself view yourself as deficient or somehow trash or lower than other people.
Well, it's a victimization tactic.
Yeah, but people can also reframe it like, oh, I'm being humble. I'm like, no, you're not. You're literally pummeling yourself,
right. So
not in a good way.
I have this distinction that I want to say between being humble, being confident, and being cocky. Because there's you could be confident and humble. You can also be confident and cocky. But I think that there's this difference because when you're confident, it's you are secure in the stuff that you are and in who you are as a person and in your accomplishments, in the things that you do, and just in yourself. But there's also that flip side of what the line between confidence and cockiness is once you start viewing yourself as better than other people, once you stop comparing yourself to yourself. Because for me, whenever I'm doing something and when I work hard, some people are like, oh, but don't you like a little bit of friendly competition to get you working harder? And I was like, I just compete with myself. Every 2 weeks, I look at myself again, and I compare myself to 2 weeks before. Am I better than I was 2 weeks ago? I try to say yes every time. Sometimes I'm not, and then I have to work harder, because, again, no growth is taking steps backwards. But I think that just, maybe it just has to do with the fact that I'm more self-centered, but it just doesn't, it's a waste of time, in my opinion, to envy someone else. Why not just be happy for them?
Yeah, I remember the wise drag queen said that they could be the biggest critic or their biggest fan.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, you could be sitting there looking like a turd, going like, "Oh, I can do better than that."
Yeah. So what I did, like, with like in school, like all the people who did really well in the class, instead of being like, "Oh my goodness, they're so smart, I'm so jealous," instead I just became friends with them.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're my friends now. They help me study if I need it, or I just picked up on their habits and now I do better too. Like, thank you, friends.
There we go.
Like,
I mean, you could be like, here's the thing, that another funny thing I want to point out is, you, like, when I was mentioning about being the turd on the couch judging them, all that energy you put into your brain for doing that negative thing, you could have done furthering your own self.
exactly. It's
So
like it's like if you have 100 M&Ms, which are your energy, you know,
okay.
for your time, for your day.
Mhm.
Why would you put 70 of your M&Ms towards being jealous when you could use it on doing stuff? Like, just like, okay, it's basically, I'm just basically saying, why put your energy towards being jealous when you could put your energy towards being better?
But what if they don't know they're being jealous?
Oh, okay.
What if you're not that self-aware?
Ooh. Okay, it's because honestly, and it's kind of stuck up to say it, I think, and it's annoying to say it, but I think both you and I are very self-aware. Like, because
Yeah.
we both know our weak points very well.
I mean, I can straight up be honest about it.
And we accept them for ourselves, you know? It's usually when you reject, it's like, personality typology. Anyway, basically it's like the parts of yourself that are bad, if you keep ignoring them, it doesn't mean that they're no longer there or bad. It just means you turned a blind eye towards it. So the best thing you could do is just open up your eyes and look at it and be like, hey, I'm bad at this. This is a bad trait that I have. This is something I'm bad at, you know? Like,
I feel like a lot of that too requires you to have a mirror properly, and the mirror could be in the form of a friend or somebody else. Like, you know, I think too many times you have the narrative of trust yourself, don't listen to anybody. But then there's also that switcheroo where you also have to look at it from a realistic lens. What if everybody's telling you something? Maybe take into a consideration.
Right. So it's like once it gets to a certain point, you have to look at the common denominator, which is you, and think sometimes, hey, maybe I might be the problem. And it doesn't mean you have to destroy your self-worth over something. It means you should take a step back and reevaluate and see how you can improve. Like, and you don't have to take every criticism, because some criticisms are not worth your time, they're dumb. But a lot of criticisms, if you get the same one over and over, maybe the problem is you. Not always, but maybe. You know?
Why does it have to connect with an emotional component? It doesn't always have to.
That's true.
Because I remember calling somebody out today. I was like, why does it matter if their opinion of you is something else? It's just an opinion, right? Like, why should it ruin your day?
I mean, like, for me, it's like, it doesn't matter what other people think of me that much, because I know what I think of myself. And I think I care what people think of me only if I'm close with them. And I don't even care. Their opinion still is not as important as my own. So especially for someone who is not my friend and they give an opinion, I can so easily reject it, because I know that they don't have that innate connection with me, and they don't have that innate care for me that my friends would bring criticism to me with, you know? Because my friends would be like, hey, I'm telling you this because I care about you, but you're kind of a jerk. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll fix that, you know? But if it's some random person who's like, you're a jerk, I'm like, you're a jerk. Like, no, you're not. Like, you want to fight?
No, you.
Like, I'm like, yeah, you want to fight? Come here. I'll meet you outside. I'll beat you up. Like, I don't know.
Like, let me prove to you what it really is.
Yeah, but honestly, they're just not worth my effort. If someone else tells me a jerk, I go, oh, okay, maybe I am. And I just move along with my life. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just not that important to me.
It shouldn't have to be either. And I know I like to say shouldn't exist in a vocabulary because our expectations don't always match reality, but I agree. It doesn't have to. I feel like, again, it's another style of shifting the responsibility and the accountability to someone else's problem if you are not willingly letting yourself be aware. Like, if you do not put yourself under the microscope to yourself, you're not doing anyone any good service, if anything, because you're basically putting that as someone else's problem, not yours, when it is yours.
Again, like, I talk about this like every 3 episodes, but like, yeah, you have to take responsibility for everything that happens to you, regardless of if it's your fault.
And I want to attack the thing about, you said when you mentioned about, like, you don't have to take the criticism like heavily, because I remember we've met people that even one shred of critique and it's like they beat themselves up and they just want to like lose it. And I'm going, that is not even the point of the critique. I mean, I get people are afraid of rejection, let's say, but the world is like ruthless. The internet is ruthless. Like,
if you want to live on the internet, you gotta have a little bit of spunk. But I don't know. For me, I've never found that I mean, of course, no one likes rejection. Maybe some people do. I take that back, But I don't know. For me, I've never been scared of rejection. If I get rejected, I'm just like, I'm one rejection closer to getting accepted. So like, why does it matter? Or if I keep getting rejected, maybe I should do something else, But it's never like I'm just a terrible person. I'm a failure. I'm just
yeah, without going into type, I think it's the balance thing that people need to have. Because if you're going through one end of the the spectrum, you really have to, when going back to your center, ground yourself in some way, because you literally cannot be operating your entire life, your day to day, trusting and relying on other people to validate you. It can't.
I think it comes down to, like, again, like this is what you're saying, but I think you need to come down to having a core sense of identity. And of course, your day-to-day identity or whatever, or like your path of life could change, but it doesn't change the fact that you are you. What am I saying? But like, honestly,
what if you don't like you though? Because there's people like that.
Well, if you don't like you, honestly, I think you're viewing yourself incorrectly, because if you don't like yourself, you're probably comparing yourself to someone else. Because what's the standard? What's the standard if you're not comparing yourself to anyone?
And then well, when you ask that, you'd be like, so what are your standards? Because you have to you return it to yourself and you realize exactly what it is you're looking at.
Well, I mean, innately, you should, I don't want to use the word should, but you should already just like yourself if you aren't comparing yourself to anyone else.
Yeah.
Because we have our ego. Why wouldn't we like ourselves? Right? It's everything else you learn. Like, I read this thing, it said, we are born into this world as a bundle of joy and love, and every day we unlearn how to love ourselves.
That is so true.
It's like, because innately we already are like, but like everyday society gives us another reason to hate ourselves. You go on the internet, they're like, you don't have a thigh gap? And I'm like, what? Like, who cares? Like, move on with your life. Dang, who cares about your thighs? Like, okay.
Well, and like that, if you want to have a career showing off your thigh gap, go for it.
Yeah,
that's your choice. But
again,
if that's not even your gig,
I mean, it's just interesting that like people are shamed for literally like everything. So I'm like, if you're gonna be shamed for everything, just be you. Just you do you, man. Like,
you can't win too. Like, I think you're fighting a losing battle, especially if you're facing...
You will never satisfy everyone. You will never make everyone happy. Choose the ones who are worth it and try to be happy with them. Like,
you know what's funny? Like, we say this a lot, but what if those people don't even have people that's worth it? My children outside are like losing it, I guess.
Yeah. How old are your kids again?
They're like 2 and 3, I think. As a 45-year-old creeper, my children are usually very active at night, but I guess it's just not what it is today.
Isn't it night right now over there? Look,
I use bioluminescent, like I use those worms that you find on that David Attenborough talks about.
I miss your kids. Ship them back over here.
Ship them back over here.
Ship them back over here. I'll send over a box.
Just UPS my children. Why don't you? Okay. Wait, where were we? What was the... Sorry.
I don't know, man.
We were talking about people being weird.
Yeah,
which is generally a conversation.
Yeah, that's like every episode. People are weird, man.
Because like, okay, I feel like people do not understand how much control they actually have in their life. And I feel like if you go operate yourself in a realm of, oh, I'm worthless, I'm valueless, whatever, then you will be, or then you are. You have to define yourself for you to be yourself. And I think that's a sign people need to really drill into their heads.
Something interesting too is that I make my fair share of self-deprecating jokes because they're fun, they're funny, but I don't actively say ever that I dislike myself. I'm never.
Can you imagine going finger gunning to a mirror? I hate me, like.
Like, but you know what I mean? Like in a conversation, someone goes, "Oh my goodness, I'm so stupid." People always say, "I'm so stupid." I never say I'm stupid. I will never say that about myself because I don't want to believe that because I'm not. Why would I say that about myself? Also, to the people saying it to themselves, you're not. Unless you keep saying it to yourself, then you will be.
Yeah.
Like,
you define your reality.
For real. That's like I don't. Yeah, so I don't go like, oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, I'm so stupid. Like, I hate myself. I don't say any of that stuff because I don't believe it and I don't want to believe it. So I don't say it, like, even as a joke. And, honestly, I'm not a stick in the mud. I do make self-deprecating jokes because they're funny, but it's usually, and they can be at my expense, but it's not about my innate worth. Like, people go, oh, I'm so useless. I'm like, damn, maybe you are. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because if you have to convince yourself, well, if you, I don't know, it just sounds like they're trying to convince me rather than yourself. Or sometimes there's always a
I don't know.
weird
I
switch.
honestly, I think some, like, obviously sometimes it's like, it's just bad self-image, but sometimes it's just they're trying to make an excuse.
That's true, because
like
if
what
you
you've
view
been
yourself
saying,
as
put it
less
on
than
someone
them,
else.
then the
Right.
disappointment isn't as hard on your
Right. It's
soul.
like doing a
or
test
whatever.
when someone does bad and they go, but you guys are smart. I'm like, well, we studied harder than you. We're not just smart.
Yeah, I never understood it either. It's like, do not put it on me, as if somehow because I don't like the idea of putting people on pedestals necessarily.
Right.
Because while I understand the idea of priorities, ethical decisions, boundaries, blah blah blah, that's fine. But like pedestals, as if like for worshiping, no, you're not
Yeah.
God. That's not even gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
we all poo, like everybody poos. Like don't
Right.
even. Like
Right.
somebody's out there like locked up somewhere and it's just not working out, and hey, everybody has a bad day. Like it's just.
I mean, that's why there's that whole thing, which I've never done before, but I don't even know if people say it anymore, but like when you talk in front of a crowd, imagine everyone in their underwear, right? That thing. And I'm like, but the point is to show that, hey, they're all people too. They're all people. Like, it's okay, like just talk, just give your speech.
No, I just actually I just figured out what that meant just now. Because here, let me explain. Let me give it to you raw. let me be real.
I don't know if I want it like that. You should cook it a little bit first.
Fine, tenderize. So I always thought that when you see people like naked or anything, I always thought of like beautiful people in the nude. But then you realize, no, we're talking about everybody. So I was like, oh, ew, everyone's gross. And I'm like, that's the framework you need to have. You see, everyone's gross, so how could you be like, the whole thing is, if everyone's special, then no one is. So if everyone's gross, then no one is. Well, look at me.
I mean, honestly, like, yeah, we're kind of on the same wavelength. It's just you view it as more of your typical "I hate everyone" sort of that type of beat. That type of beat.
Aesthetic, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, we are gonna close out our video here. I'm not sure what we talked about. That's pretty much how every single episode goes. But we will see on our next one.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yeah.
We will. Better show up to the next one.
Why is that the face?
I'm talking to you though, Nate. You better show up to the next one.
As if I haven't been showing up. Yeah. So remind me to tell your friends that if you actually have any friends that they should give you the reaction that you want.
Anyway, we'll see you on our next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.